So on to the things that we've taken away from this work. So we've learned that just like in many other fields, helping children from an early age is essential when it comes to money. This isn't about gender, household income, social class. From as young as 5, even when we strip out all these factors, a journey starts that puts a child on a path, good or bad. And by the age of 10, that path becomes much more certain. However, when we look at what is being delivered out there for young people, we find there's not that much that we would like to see. When we look at the education system, Northern Ireland, Scotland, Wales, it's good there. It's on the curriculum for primary schools. In England, though, it's not. And delivery is patchy. There's a growing focus, and we're starting to see interventions like the Church of England's Lifesavers programme and Kickstart, funded by Tizer and delivered by MyBank. But it's still not enough. And when we speak to parents, we find that a third of them think children need to be older than 12, and some of them older than the age of 18, 19, 20, to be encouraged to think about money, to be given their own spending money, to be given responsibility for saving up for something. Self-control was one of the key drivers in the non-cog findings, self-control and locus of control. And what this means is there's a prime opportunity to develop it that's just not taking place. Which leads me on to it's more than just cognitive skills. So financial education has traditionally been perceived as an issue of imparting knowledge, learning about compound interest, getting numeracy, and then the kids will be all right. But there's not one simple magic bullet. Numeracy alone won't improve financial outcomes, and a textbook won't be the solution for building self-control, for facilitating better behaviours. And if we focus simply on the acquisition of these cognitive skills, we will struggle to achieve the financial well-being of adults that all of us here today are seeking to address. And how can we bring this up to date with today's young people? Well, we're currently working out composite measures for children and young people. We conducted a survey last year of 5,004 to 17-year-olds and their parents. We've conducted data analysis to bucket together the key capabilities in order to understand what are the key drivers of children's behaviour with money today. What role does a child's knowledge, attitudes, engagement with money play in determining behaviour? What's most important? And we'll be publishing those findings early next year. We've also learnt that money doesn't exist in isolation. If you don't feel like you're managing your money well, your financial self-assessment, this research shows that you're more likely to have a long-standing illness, have poor mental health, and be unhappy with your life. And it can be worked back decades ago to how you behaved, the skills you had as a child. Now, this opens up new partnerships, new ways of working that could help people learn about money in the way that they experience it. Financial capability, money, and our problems with it don't operate in a vacuum. And the relationship between money and mental health in particular is receiving increased attention, as we see through organisations like the Money and Mental Health Institute, Mental Health and Money Advice Service. Improved targeting, that's important too. So as I said earlier, we see that the ages of 5 to 10 in particular appear to be a key turning point. And this taps into wider research about what influences children at this age. And that's primarily parents. However, this window of opportunity is not yet widely understood. We know that half of parents think money habits get established between the ages of 12 upwards. And for some, this will be the case, but this research indicates otherwise. And we've been operating a pilot in Wales for the last 2 years where we are working to equip parents with the skills to develop financially capable children. It's quasi-experimental design. The results of following up with parents at 6 months and 12 months will be coming out next year. Early indications are looking good. And finally, we could even consider doing something else entirely. So this research doesn't tell us that financial education interventions, as they are happening right now, are effective decades later. There isn't the longitudinal research to tell us that, and there isn't the time travel machine that can tell us that. However, it is the strongest longitudinal research that we have at the moment that tells us which areas do drive financial outcomes decades later. So perhaps one way of addressing this would be to invest funding in a behaviour intervention proven to be effective, a cognitive intervention, let's say, to not even mention money at all. Though my friends operating in this field would say, Kirsty, it's really not as simple as all of that. And that's why we at MAS have the What Works Fund, where we have funded about 60-odd different interventions, one of which you will hear about today, to try and make a massive leap forward in what we know about what works, to whom, and how. What we found this research helps us is it tells us we need to start younger. Between the ages of 5 to 10 is a critical period. We need to broaden financial capability interventions and use them to facilitate the development of self-control, in particular, locus of control too. It's a good opportunity there. We need to think about how these skills could be used as a way to target those most in need. What role can behaviours play in targeting who needs help the most? Financial education also can no longer be treated as a single issue intervention. At the young age, we share a common agenda with those developing general childhood skills. And looking at the outcomes we care about, we share a common agenda with many in the public health arena. And finally, we have to find out what works. Let's apply these new findings to interventions and let's test them. And speaking at a research conference, I hope that delights and excites all of you. Thank you.